Folks, I don't know if you've been paying attention lately, but there's been a lot more talk about UFOs than I have ever seen before in my life. Back in the day when I was a kid, when people talked about UFOs, they were considered to be kind of crazy, right? This was something that was only relegated to conspiracy theorists and, people who thought all kinds of weird things, the X-Files and, no offense to Alex Jones, but Alex Jones type people, that kind of a thing. Which, by the way, if you're an Alex Jones type person, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you know what I mean. You were considered to be part of a fringe group and you were always called crazy. But lately, in the mainstream media, all over the fake news, they are beginning to legitimize the discussion of the existence of UFOs. The United States government is releasing information on it, and there's a lot of talk. Now, I'm not surprised about this, because we are getting closer and closer and closer to the rapture of the church. And I'm going to talk about this in just a second because I do believe this relates to a biblical issue. And we'll talk about it in just a second. But if you don't believe me, let me play this recent news story that came out of the Communist Nationalistic Network, CNN. And they talk about it. And this guy is interviewing somebody who is a respected, well-known commander of the unit that actually studied all of these things. Watch this, guys. We'll play about 2 minutes of it. It'll blow your mind. Take a listen to this video. It's pretty spectacular.
Could these objects be spy craft from another country? What do you think?
Well, Jake, thanks for having me. And that's the big question, isn't it? Right? What are these things? And the bottom line is that we don't know. And unfortunately, any scenario that we go down is really not a very good scenario. So on one hand, you have the potential to be foreign adversarial technology flying within controlled U.S. airspace. And of course, on the other opposite end of the spectrum, you have something which is completely and entirely different than anything that we're aware of in anybody's inventory. And either way, these things are being witnessed by some of our best fighter pilots. They're being picked up on electro-optical devices such as gun camera footage, and then it's furthermore being substantiated by radar data. So we know they're real, whatever it is.
A retired Navy pilot had a wild description of what he saw off the coast of Southern California in 2004. Listen to what he told 60 Minutes.
The tic-tac still pointing north-south. It goes and just turns abruptly and starts mirroring me. So as I'm coming down, it starts coming up.
So it's mimicking your moves.
Yeah, it was aware we were there. So I go like this, and it's climbing still. And when it gets right in front of me, it just disappears.
Disappears?
Disappears. Like gone.
To be clear, he's referring to this giant object as a tic-tac because he said it was shaped like one. Now, 3 other crew members with that pilot saw the same thing. Are these objects a national security concern?
They're talking about this stuff all over the news. They're playing these interviews. They're showing all of this video footage. And it's interesting how that captain, I think it's how he said, blip, blip. He kind of gave that illustration of how they just kind of changed direction pretty quickly. Folks, if you want my perspective on this, we may very well be talking about demonic beings. That's what we might be talking about. If you look at the book of Ezekiel and you read the description of how some of these angels moved, remember, demons are fallen angels. You've got to understand that. And so the movement of these angels is something that's very indicative of a lot of the things that people are actually saying that they've seen. Now, I'll just tell you this. What does this have to do with the end days or the end times? I'll tell you, it's very simple. The enemy is really good at deception. He's the king of deception. This is what he does. So imagine right now we're beginning to see all this talk about UFOs, where we know that there is an event that is going to be coming up sooner than later for believers here. We know that the church is going to be raptured. The Bible says it, that the Lord is going to snatch us up, the church. And this is all before the coming of the Antichrist. This is all before the tribulation and all the things that go on. And there has to be some kind of a deception to explain why so many millions of people disappeared off the face of the earth. I'd be willing to bet you they're going to bring in this discussion of UFOs and aliens from other planets. I would be willing to bet you they're going to use a conversation like that. Tom, in my radio show with him this morning, We talked about this actually in our live show. We talked about this, and he said he wouldn't be surprised if the government released information within the next few months or even by the end of the year that they've actually sighted real aliens from outer space. Now, here's the deal. What they've probably sighted, if they're telling the truth, is they've probably sighted demonic beings, and whatever these UFOs are, I'd be willing to bet you that's what they are. So why? So that they can set up deception to explain what's going on. Folks, we need to open our eyes. The enemy is really good at creating deception to cause people to think a very specific way so that they can come to the conclusions that they want to in helping to deceive the rest of the world. Because listen, I mean, think about it. If there are people that are watching individuals like me making videos like this on a daily basis, and they watch this video and all of a sudden millions of people from across the earth are gone, of course they're going to put A and B together, 1 and 2 together. Come on. It's going to be an easy connection to make. But the Bible tells us it won't be that easy. The Bible tells us that there will be great deception. Well, how is that deception going to take place? I'd be willing to bet you this will be part of it. So the bottom line of everything that we're talking about, you guys, is this, and this is really important that you understand this. Jesus is coming soon, and now is the time to receive him. Today is a day of salvation. We are running out of time, you guys, and there's lots of things that are happening that are designed to deceive people. We're living in a world that calls the police evil and calls Hamas good. I mean, what's going on? Where have we gone to where we've come to a place where we are learning to call evil good and good evil? This is the dark world that we live in. And guys, we've got to open up our eyes because we don't have a lot of time left. Jesus is coming soon, and all the things that are happening, the totality of everything is giving us every indicator that we don't have a lot of time left. So let's open our eyes, keep our heads in the game, okay? When I say that, meaning stay in the word, study, get to know what's going on around you. Because guys, Jesus is coming back soon. And please, I beg you, don't ever forget that. Don't let that escape your mind. Jesus is coming soon. Let's not forget that, you guys. God bless you.